Goals. We're talking goals. Goals are the desired outcome. Our first instinct when we hear, the word goal is it's the thing that we want to do or achieve. And that's kind of true. The outcome you want is to be debt free. But what you really want is to create habits that help you achieve that goal and reap even more benefits in the long term. It's important to decipher the two because you put behaviors in place so that you can achieve this milestone, but you're no longer living for the milestone. You're not living to become debt free. You're living to have a great financial independence life. Oftentimes our goals become the reason why we live. They fuel our purpose, but that shouldn't be the case. It's a difficult mindset to take on because, as we know, you are going to become debt free. So what do you want to do when it's done? The importance of goals is to direct your path, to ensure your systems, habits, behaviors are reflecting the thing that you want. The system is more important than the goal, but the goal is the desired outcome based on what the system is doing. Hopefully that makes sense. We're going to do a quick example right now. So let's say your goal is to run a marathon. That's a great goal. Your desired outcome is to complete a marathon. However, your desire overall is to be a runner, be in great running shape, have endurance. So your system might look like morning runs, eating healthier foods, joining a Facebook running group that meets every Saturday. And then there's milestones that help you complete the goal. And that would be like running a 5K. Then you build up and run a half marathon, and then you're running 18 miles. And the point being here that each milestone or mini goal is pushing you toward the next bigger overarching goal. Each milestone along the way is keeping you aligned to get you to be able to complete a whole marathon. So in this case, let's talk a little bit of finance. Let's do a financial example. This is climbing the financial mountain. Here it is. It's a beautiful little visual I've put together with some emoji pins. Your final goal is to get out of debt. Once again, this is an example. Once we get into dealing with numbers, it'll be easier to see how you should establish your milestones. But you're beginning to climb this financial mountain. And your milestones or mini goals for your big goal is to pay off your credit card, then your auto loan, then your student loan, and then wham, you're debt free. Your desired goal is achieved, having had each of your milestones build on top of one another for momentum and clarity. And the systems you could have put into place to accomplish the overall goal is to create a monthly budget, cutting your expenses, putting more money down on high interest loans. That's the system you put in place to achieve your overarching goals. So far, so good. We feel in that. The system is the doing. The goals and mini goals are just building on top of each other to make sure your system is going in the right direction. So let's actually talk about setting some real goals for yourself. And this is how I set up my goals. I do the who, what, when, where, why, how goals. Where usually doesn't make it into where I do my goals, but how can you say all of those other ones without including it here? So maybe you want to do this in Hawaii. I don't know. Just an idea. Don't spend the money on an expensive trip. So the what is, what are you going to do? What's the thing you want to achieve? The when is when you're going to accomplish it by. The why, and this is easily the most important part of your goals, is the why. If you don't have a strong why, if you don't know why you're going to do something, you're not going to do it. Why do it? Your why has to be strong. Your why has to be the thing that you feel in your gut that pushes you to stay disciplined to achieve it. Have a super duper strong why. And I'll give you an example on the next slide. And then there's the how. How are you going to do this? What's your plan? What's the plan you're going to put into place in order to achieve this? An example being, what are you going to do? I'm going to pay off $60,000 of debt. You got to be super, super, super specific on what it is you're trying to accomplish. The more clarity you have on what it is you're trying to do, the easier it will be for you to align your actions to accomplishing it. Be insanely clear. Be over the top clear. It could be, I'm going to pay off $4,000 of credit card debt. I'm going to pay off $8,000 of auto loan debt on my Subaru Outback. Just be super, super specific. When are you going to do it by? I'm going to pay off my $60,000 of debt by January 1st, 2022. You have to know when you're going to do it by. Give yourself a timeline where you know you can accomplish it, but make it challenging for yourself, but not unrealistic, which is the skill to learn. If you can bang it out in a year, do it in a year. If it'll take 6 months, do 6 months. Having a win that is realistic and challenging ensures that you keep a steady pace and remain consistent. That's the key. You got to keep yourself on track, because whenever January 1st comes around, those numbers got to line up for it. Why? As I stated, this is easily the most important about establishing your goal. Why are you going to do something? Make this awesome. You're going to find a key theme here. Make this specific too. Choose something that's going to fuel you, fuel your flame every time you think about it. Something that you can wake up in the morning and be like, this is going to make it worth the sacrifice. For me, when I was paying off my debt, it was, I'm going to pay off $60K of debt by January 1st, 2022, because I refuse to be controlled by anything except God himself. That was my why, and that drove me every single day. I didn't want anything over my head. I wanted the freedom to live life on my own terms and choose where all my money goes. For you, it could be, I don't want my children to grow up not being able to play sports and sports leagues, or I want to be able to help my children with their college, or I simply hate paying money every month to an institution. I'd rather have it in my pocket. All of those whys are valid. They just have to be strong enough for you so you can keep your head in the game and stay focused. Next is the how. How are you going to do this? What's your game plan that you're going to stick with in order to get the job done? How's half faith, half plan, but the plan together, and you got to put the plan together and work at it until it fits your mold, fits the mold you're working for. So for example, I'm going to pay off $60K of debt by January 1st, 2022 by cutting expenses, earning more money, and budgeting frugally, because I refuse to be controlled by anything except God himself. That's the whole shebang. You could even say like, I'm going to do this by cutting expenses in my housing and my entertainment categories and go from there. So then the who, this is also important. I think you were thinking I was going to put it in the where it's like, obviously you're going to do it where you are, but the who is important. You can't enforce goals for anybody else. So who's going to do it? I am. There's power in I am. I am going to do this. When you say I am, it becomes real. So writing goals out like this, you have to. You just got it. You got to write it down on a piece of paper. Keep it in your pocket at all times. Write it out 10 times and look at it when you wake up in the morning, before you go to bed. Leave it all throughout your house. Read your goal statement. This goal statement that you're writing, it's your mission statement. Just have it all over and review it and read it as often as you can. Bonus points for saying it out loud. And this is the thing you want. It's time to convince your brain that you want it too. Convince that brain that this is what's going down. And once you become hyper focused on something, your subconscious will start to get involved, and making those decisions and creating those habits will become easier. Just read it over and over and over and over and over. Memorize it and just recite it to yourself, because you'll know your why. You'll know exactly what you're trying to achieve, and there won't be any leeway as to what you're trying to do, when you're trying to do it, why you're trying to do it, how you're going to do it. That's going to be crystal clear for you. So just repeat that to yourself, read it as often as you can, and you'll be good to go. So next, we're actually going to get into a good checklist. So I'll see you in the next one.